Hey everyone, I'm Lucy Carter, and today I'm going to be interviewing the beautiful Ange Macdonald. Ange is originally from New Zealand, but she is now currently living in Brisbane. And Ange used to work within the corporate world, and then she sort of transitioned a little bit into the consulting world, helping accountants, accounting companies, accounting firms basically perform at a high level. Ange will tell you a bit more about her story behind that and why she's no longer doing that as well. But this is basically Ange's story about how she's become her own boss and stepped out of the corporate world, stepped out of the 9 to 5 lifestyle, and created her own sort of version of freedom and her own rules. So with that being said, Ange, I will just get you to explain a bit about your background and about your story and what kind of problems you were dealing with when you sort of came across this business opportunity with NSE.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. So great to be here with you, Lucy. For me, when I was in the corporate world, I actually had this ambition. I was always really driven within myself and always wanted a great lifestyle and what have you. And I always thought the pathway to that sort of desired outcome or lifestyle was, work really hard and climb that corporate ladder. And in my 20s, I went through a bit of burnout and suffered from some major health issues. Was actually endometriosis. And it sort of put me out of life for about 3 to 4 years. And sort of through that period, sort of through adversities and challenges, you take a lot of reflection and growth out of those periods. And through that period, I sort of had some aha moments where we only get one life. We only get one go at this. And also gave me a realization that if I wasn't showing up to work, I wasn't getting paid. And out of that period, I had a lot of financial pressure through that as well. So when I recovered from that health journey and going back into the corporate world, I had reached a point in climbing the corporate ladder, and I thought it really is not for me. I was looking around, looking at people that I was working with, and I was like, it's not really the lifestyle that I had envisaged for myself, So really did some soul searching when I'm back into the corporate world. And at that stage, I was living on the Gold Coast, commuting about 2 to 3 hours a day. So that was like, oh my God, that is really heavy. And I think a lot of people can actually relate to that, being stuck in traffic. And obviously just reflecting on how I wanted to live life. So I decided at that stage just to look at doing my own business and start my entrepreneurial journey, and took the leap of faith, really, because at that stage I was working in the accounting industry and with accounting firms, and I thought, I got this. I can do my own business. And and also that time I just come out of a long-term relationship and had properties, which was awesome. And however, the mortgages that were attached to these properties. So taking the leap of faith with starting my own business, quite heavy, a lot of commitments, but just sort of went in and leaned into it.
Yeah.
So that was a big pivotal time for me.
Yeah,
around that period.
So obviously there was a lot going on sort of at that moment in time. Obviously when you were in your corporate role, like what kind of feelings would come up for you when you were sort of thinking about doing something different? And obviously you had a lot of health issues and stuff like that. Like what were the feelings and emotions that came up for you around that time?
A lot of sleepless nights, actually, Lucy. A lot of sleepless nights. Quite a bit of stress in the respect. It was stress. I'll put it down stress. It's because there was a lot of stuff happening in my life, and a sort of a heavy feeling of being really unhappy and discontent with the reality of my life at that stage. So it was all sort of coming into play with helping me. I believe that we get nudges through life, and you can either choose to ignore them or you can lean into them, because leaning into them is that uncomfortableness. So I chose to lean in, and I think those unhappy, heavy vibes were just helping me to, giving me a nudge to move forward.
Because you just think something's got to be better than what I'm feeling right now. Something,
absolutely.
If you're at that low point, you've got to be like, well, just trying something different and something that's probably more positive, then surely that's got to be better, at least if not in the short term, but also, just working towards it in the long term as well. So
yeah.
I
always remember asking myself at that time, there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way, and that's what I was in search of. At that stage. Yeah.
And with your consulting side of it, I know obviously for myself, being a young entrepreneur, starting my makeup business and stuff, like, as much as you are, freelance in a sense, and you are your own business and you are your own boss in that respect. I know for me personally, as much as I, enjoy what I do, it's a lot of give from me. So did you kind of feel the same with your consulting business, that it was a lot of your time was getting sort of spent up?
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah 100%. Like it is, whilst it was what I thought would be giving me the lifestyle, that consulting business, it just turned out not to be. Like I was earning great money, however there was absolutely, I was on this, doing everything from A to Z, on the go every day, and it, as you say, it's like it's energy sucking. It's like, personally, you got to show up and be on. You have to acquire new customers or clients. You got to do the marketing aspect to it. You have to then develop, for me, the IP to deliver. And then it was helping the clients implement and get success. And then it's sort of like that whole back end of the business side of the business world, of the accounting and the
and you're only one person, you can't, do everything. I totally get that. So when, just another question, like, for when you were obviously in your more corporate job, or you were obviously working for somebody else, and then obviously you had your transition into consulting, obviously both of those were, good salaries. You said that you were earning good money in your consulting, and I'm guessing that the other job you had was good money. Like, what was the thought process behind leaving all that and leaving that kind of security blanket, I suppose, that most people think is within, having a secure 9-to-5 job working for somebody else, or even something that you've started up yourself, actually just sort of transitioning into something different, even though you've got, something's working and you are making money?
So moving from the security, I suppose, perceived security of a corporate paying job, that was a bit, it's the unknown, because when you're starting out on your own business, it's like, can I do this? Is it possible, and what have you? And obviously I had commitments too. So you sort of, at that stage, I sort of knew I'd make it work through the consulting side of things. And, both elements, when I was in the corporate and my own business, they were capped. Corporate, you're capped to what you're being paid, or if you're on bonuses, there's a certain level that you can only go to. And then with the consulting business that I had, is capped to my time, unless I was wanting to grow, teams, which is more responsibilities, more risk, more outlay, and I didn't want to go down that track, actually. So
you've actually got to pay them a wage and do all that kind of stuff. It becomes a whole different kettle of fish, doesn't it?
Totally.
And the responsibilities, and even like for me, like if I grew a team within my makeup, it's like, then you have to deal with, if they're working for me and under me, then it's like, you've got to, one, it's your reputation as well. You've got to find the right people, because that's your name, and also paying them a wage, or paying them for the time that they're doing, and also any sort of liability stuff as well, like when it comes to health and safety, and there's all that shenanigans that goes on with having I suppose a team in that sort of form. Whereas if everyone's just sort of got their own thing going on and you're helping people grow that, which is like what we're doing with NSE, it's like, then you don't even have to worry about that side of things. That's, you know, that's their little thing, that's our little thing. And then, you know, you're just all helping each other grow. So that's, you know,
really
one of the reasons why, you know, it's a different ball game for me when it comes to business. Yeah. And growing a business. Because like you say, you can only grow so much when you're on your own, like technically you have to like leverage it to
totally capped.
You have to outsource at some point somewhere to grow. Cool. And how did you come across the business platform that we're with, NSE? How did you find out about it, and what were your, I mean, we've got an understanding of what your main reasons were, but like just sort of go through that, and what was what was your main focus for doing it and building an online business and joining it?
Yeah, cool. Great questions. I discovered the NSE products initially, actually, Lucy, when I was going through my health journey. I was introduced to the product side of things initially through a friend of mine, and then about 5 years ago, that particular friend said to me, you know, she could see that I was on this hamster wheel situation. And she approached me, my dear friend Ellie, and she said, look, if you could be earning what you're earning plus, you know, plus, but have a lot more time flexibility, would that be of interest to you? I went, yes, that would be of interest to me. So I decided to explore the platform, and, you know, did a lot of research around it. And I will be quite honest, I was quite, it wasn't within my parameter of how I thought I could create my lifestyle, that freedom that I was seeking. And the more I looked into it and went with it, the more I discovered it was everything that I had been searching for in my life, actually. So 5 years ago, decided just to go for it. I blended it initially around my business, my consulting business, and had it as my sort of side gig or plan B situation. And I think a lot of people that this year understand the how valuable or important it is to have a plan B, or, you know, multiple streams of income. And that's what I did 5 years ago. And really I decided to jump on a plane and go to the States. It's actually where the head office is, and met some of the team over there.
Oh, you were totally committed.
I was. It's not the normal thing to do, but I was like, I'm going.
Just do it.
The trip, you know, I was like, right. I've been travel. So, and it's been fantastic. It's, you know, I started obviously very little time at that stage, and now have been able to transition out of that consulting business, and NSC has allowed me to create a lot of flexibility, and have had lots of travel and trips with it, actually. I actually just counted up before that I've had 6 business trips with the company, whether it be going to the States, and also some success trips that they pay for, 5-star situations, which has been phenomenal for my husband and I. And it's been so much fun, which is great. You know, it's really freed me up, and it's great money, great people that you work with, and it's the personal growth has been huge for me too, Lucy. And I know that you're very much, you know, personal development and growing and working on yourself.
For sure. You have to work on yourself to, you know, if you've got personal problems, you've got business problems, right? That's how I see it. You don't have business problems, you have personal problems. That's what that's my motto anyway. So, you know, after starting your business, I mean, you've been in it for five years now?
5 years.
How are you feeling about life now? I mean, like, obviously 5 years before that, you obviously, you know, had a lot happening. It was emotional. You was feeling, you know, a bit down in the dumps and not happy. So how are you feeling now that things are sort of, you know, flourished and you're
Yes.
full-time now doing this business. So how's that
Yes.
making you feel?
I feel very, very complete as a person, I must say. I feel like, I've always had this passion for helping people and helping them achieve their goals. That's why I was doing my consulting business. I'd go into businesses and help them work out what their goals are and what the vision is. So it's sort of like, it's that what I'm doing right now with people and mentoring and helping people create a life on their terms. So I feel really amazing doing that. I feel in flow. And the way that I live life is based on my own terms. Lots of, as I've mentioned, lots of holidays that we've had, and up until this year I was going back and forth to New Zealand to see my family in New Zealand at least every 3 to 4 months, so it's all that that time to be able to do what you want to do, and really it's great. And I really, as I just mentioned, it's the personal growth. I'm a completely different person now, as in like my outlook on life to when I was 5 years ago.
Totally different mindset. And what's happened in the last year has been pretty freaking crazy, and I know regardless of how well your business is doing, whatever, everyone has been affected in some way, shape or form throughout this year. So I just wanted to ask you, how do you feel that you've sort of taken back control of 2020? Because I know for me personally, as much as I have a positive outlook on life, things are working out pretty well for me. There is factors within this year that have really thrown me. So how do you feel that you've taken back 2020, and what is your mission for the rest of this year, Ange?
Beautiful. 2020, it has been, obviously, as you say, it's affected and impacted lots of people in different ways. For me this year, it's been a great year in the respect of leaning in and showing up. I have felt a responsibility to be there for the people that I'm working with, showing up as a mentor and self-leadership as well. So it's keeping your own word around things. Business has really grown this year, just due to the fact of people buying online and people seeing the importance of having another income stream coming into the household. So for me, it's been a growth year with business. It's been a growth year personally for me. It's been a good year. I will say each year is different, isn't it? I've also, last year for me was a different story personally. It was a lot of leaning in to get uncomfortable and personal growth. This year's just been building on that.
And so what's your mission for the rest of this year? What is it?
Good. Yes. It's to finish on a high, and we've got some exciting things within the business with different launches and technologies being released. So it's really taking advantage of that, that launch, which happens every couple of years. So it's finishing on a high, really. I mean, we're just
bringing that into the next year, I suppose, as well.
Yeah. So we're about 3 weeks off, aren't we? Just looking at the calendar.
I know. Crazy.
Yeah.
Nuts. Absolutely nuts. And what are your top 3 goals for next year, for 2021?
Yeah. It's definitely helping more people. And I have this real vision of bringing, on a personal note, bringing my New Zealand family over to Australia when the borders open, and having a really amazing holiday with them, all expenses paid for them. And it's just, so lots of family time, helping as many people as possible, really take charge of their life and get on top of life. And that's 2 of them. And personally, health-wise, just continue really looking after my body. And
well, you're good. I know you do F45 every morning. Like, watch your stories. I'm like, oh God, I should be doing that.
You're good. You've got your yoga going. You go to yoga. You do
not this week though. It's too hot because it's hot yoga. I'm like, it's been like 30 odd degrees. It's like stinking hot. I don't feel like doing yoga, so beach time, I think.
Yeah, good on you.
Yeah. And what advice would you give anyone that has been in the positions that you've been in? So, you know, when you're in your corporate job, or even like, you know, setting up your own consulting business or whatever, like what advice would you give to those people who are currently in that sort of similar situation to you?
There's a few things that come to mind actually as I reflect back, and just the wisdom out of it is be bigger than your excuses would be one. And I think, you know, be okay to get uncomfortable is the second one. Sort of like really, that's where the magic is. I mean, it's really cliche, but it is. You've got to really feel that uncomfortableness to actually move forward in life.
Like get comfortable with the uncomfortable.
Yes, exactly, Lucy. Yeah. And it's just take charge. I mean, we are responsible for everything in our life, every single thing in our life. So it's take responsibility and be the driver in your life and go after what you want, basically. Yeah. And there will be challenges. Be bigger than those as well. Lean into those.
Yes, that is definitely the case. I mean, like, not, you know, any business that, you know, you'll come up with resistance and challenges, and it's just, you've got to be, like you say, bigger than that. You've got to go, okay, how can I overcome this, and how can I just move through this, or either jump over it or go around the side of it, or like just find a way to just get through that mess or that situation. Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
That's
there
really
is one other thing I will say is consistent action, the good one, not the bad one. It's compounded. I mean, it goes both sides really. Consistency has a compounding effect. So it's showing up, it's being consistent with what's going to count towards moving you forward. So embrace that.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thanks, Ange. It was super insightful, and I'm sure a lot of people would resonate with your story, and probably be sitting there going, oh my God, that's me. So thank you for sharing that and making people feel not alone in their situation if they are in a similar one to you. I think it's really important to share our stories and make people aware of, you know, that they aren't alone. They're not going through something by themselves, especially when, you know, most of the world has been in lockdown and stuff. You know, people have felt very lonely and felt, you know, they haven't got that human connection, and having this as a resource to put out there to people so they can actually just feel connected in some way, shape or form. And thanks for sharing. That was fun.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Lucy. It's great.
Right.
Awesome.
All right. Bye.
Bye.